Hey, Luke here with CatsandCarp.com, and I'm going to give you another product review. This time I'm going to show you my rod pod, which is the Cygnet Grand Sniper rod pod. This is a high-end rod pod, but man, I sure love it. I had a Fox Eclipse for about a couple years, but it just kept falling apart on me. So I wanted something a little bit less tippy, a little bit more durable, and I was willing to pay a little bit extra to get it, and I got this rod pod. Man, I have had no regrets. So I get a lot of questions from people who see my videos and they want to know what kind of rod pods I'm using. This is what I'm using. So without further ado, let me show you. It comes with this nice little carrying case here, and this is the pod. I've been using this thing pretty aggressively for not quite a year now, but and what it does is it's really versatile. It's got these two sets of legs that you see here, plus it comes with two additional sets of legs. Okay, and all of them are telescoping and adjustable, and so you can mix and match. You can take one set off and put it, so I can put the really long set on the front, real short set on the back, whatever I want to do. But it's a 4-leg system, and each leg has a knob so you can adjust its angle. And you've got these that hold the buzzer bars, and you've got this thing, allows you to adjust it this way, and you can articulate each leg completely independently. You can even twist it like this. So if it's on uneven ground, you can do it that way, you know, whatever you like. And you can drive these legs into the ground pretty good. And if you're on soft ground, like I am now. And then you have the buzzer bars that come with it. And these things are pretty cool too. So you can put them on either side. You can put your alarms on whatever side you want, and you can put your butt rests on whichever, so you can switch it. But this goes down, there you go. But these things twist, so you can adjust the angle. So depending on whether you're going rod tips up or down, you can adjust it, and that's awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and show you some of my favorite setups with this thing. But the main takeaway is it's really a sturdy rod, and it's a very versatile rod. Whether you're on soft ground, whether you're on hard concrete, you can do pretty much whatever. I can take this thing surf fishing. It's a really good surf fishing setup. You can get those rod tips way up in the air, and they're really sturdy. Anyway, so I'm just going to go ahead and show you the different positions I like to put my rods in, and we'll go from there. Okay, this is my favorite setup for fishing locked up with my tips more or less horizontal to the water. It is very strong. This is very strong. I think this rod pod is stronger than anything you can achieve with just about any bank sticks or something. It takes a lot to rip your rods out of the holders. Usually the fail point is the butt or the grips. For instance, my Daiwa Mission and X doesn't have a bulge on the end. My other rod, my Fox Warrior S, has one, but it's a little soft, and my High S 200 has got the best butt on this. So with these grips, this one doesn't come out very easily, but these others, it's the rod that is the weak point. It's the butt of the rod that's the weak point. It's the grips, the aftermarket grips that you add on, that are the weak part, not the rod. Not the rod pod. This rod pod doesn't tip over, and I'm going to demonstrate. All right, we're going to test this out, and I'm going to use my scale here, and I've attached it to my leader. I've got my reel locked up as tight as it'll go. I'm going to see how many pounds of force I can put on this before my rod comes out. Okay, so let's, okay, we got 5 pounds, 8 pounds, 9 pounds, 10, 12, 14, 16 pounds, 17. So 17 pounds of force on that thing before he could get it out. Now, a lot of people fish for carp with 15-pound test lines. So if you're fully locked up with 15 pounds of test line, you're going to break off before your rod goes in the water with this rod pod. That's pretty cool. All right, I'm going to try the same test, but I'm going to try to pull in a little bit more natural way. Instead of a slow, steady pull, I'm going to try to take it like a fish would, and we'll see how many pounds we can get. Okay. Yeah, that actually went up to about 18 pounds. So, so once again, this is pretty darn tough. It takes a lot of force to lose your rod with one of these rod pods. These Cygnet rod pods are just incredibly stable. Yeah, they're pretty good. So let's test it out on Pavement, see what happens. Okay, 8, 10, 12, 12. Alrighty. If you want to fish locked up, this Cygnet Grand Sniper rod pod is just amazing. On grass, you're getting about 16 pounds before your rod system fails, and that's only because the butt rests weren't strong enough. On Pavement, this thing starts to scoot at 12 pounds. So that's pretty amazing. You can fish very locked up. 12 pounds of drag will usually put the brakes on a pretty good size carp, and 16 pounds, man, that's awesome. Most of these reels can only generate about 18, 20 pounds of drag. So it's very close to the max capacity for your rig. Really impressive. Now what I've noticed is helping is this weird configuration I've got here. You notice that the butt rest is this side of the legs. That makes a huge difference. When you fish with normal rod pods, or use a normal configuration, you fish with the butt rests behind the legs, which you can do on this set too, but that acts as a leverage. It gets it too high off the ground above the legs and too far back, and then it starts to do this thing. In your rod pod, when you get the force, it starts to creep over at about 8 or 10 pounds, much less. By being able to be so versatile, you can keep it low, you can keep it in line with your front rests, and you can keep it on this side of the legs. And so the rod doesn't go and tip up like this. It'll try to want to drag forward, and then the legs lock in. And as you saw on the Pavement, the only reason why it failed is because the legs had nothing to dig into. If you can dig something into, I mean, this thing just ain't going. So, the versatility of the Cygnet Grand Sniper rod pod allows you to fish very locked up. I really like this. But there's a lot of other great things about this rod pod too. What a versatile rod pod. I mean, look at this thing. You can put the rod tips as high up as you want. It's just really, really versatile. And why do you want to ever put your rod tips up this high? Because I fish big rivers like the Potomac River. You're casting out 100 to 120 yards. That current is wreaking havoc with your main line. It's just dragging and pulling that main line, and that's what drags your gear. So we're having to use 8 to 12 ounce leads to keep our gear down when we're casting way out in the current. By sticking your rod tips way up in the air, you're taking about 50 feet of line out of the current. That reduces the force on your main line, reduces the amount of lead you need to throw to keep your gear in place. And this rod pod lets you do that. It also keeps your main line over the top of snags that may be down at the shore. So if you have riprap, or you have some nasty seaweed or brush or something down there, you're getting your line over the top of it. Additionally, I love this rod pod for surf fishing. If you're ever in a condition out in the ocean where a sand spike doesn't work, this is the go-to rod pod. you want to get your main lines over those breakers, so you need your rod tips way up, and the only way you're going to do that without a sand spike is something like this. But it's also really sturdy, even though it's in these really obscene extreme positions. As long as you position everything, you tighten everything right, it's really strong. So let's do a little demo here. So you can see you can put a pretty decent amount of force and no problem. Let's see how far we can do this. So once again, it's the butt rest that fails us, not the rod pod. When you got your tips this high up in the ground, you can put a rock right there to keep it from flipping out, and that helps. Or you can even bury the butt into the sand a little bit or something if that's available. But this thing's pretty strong. It's a great rod pod. For more great product reviews from catsandcarp.com, check out these other videos, including a review of the Fox Royal rod quiver and the Tracker wheelbarrow. Two really great fishing products.